Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Addiction Help channel, Queensland, here at YouTube. We've got a very exciting little interview today. We've got our star poster child, Miss Vanessa. She is here to tell a little bit about her personal story with what has happened in her life. She has been invited today because she's studying to become a recovery coach. And funnily enough, we met at a domestic violence group. And the rest is history. It's only been 7 short months, and in 7 short months she has totally transformed her life around. So I'd like to welcome today Vanessa here at the show.
Thank you, Maria.
So we've got quite an interesting conversation that we're going to have today. But before we get to your personal story, I'd like to just ask you a little bit about your experience in being a recovery coach trainee or a student here at Coaching with Substance. How has that been for you, studying to become a recovery coach?
It's been great. I've learned how to set inspiring goals, how to perform at my best.
Yes.
And how to coach effectively.
That's
Sorry
all right.
about that.
That's okay.
So I've also used it in my personal life.
Yes.
And learned quite a bit about myself. I'm not as suicidal or putting myself down.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a lot more awake with the people I've got around me.
Beautiful. And that's important, isn't it?
It is.
Because the things that we've taken for granted when we are abusing and using and in addiction, you've started to realize that they're not the things that you should be engaging in, and you've started to really treasure this body and the family that you have with your 1-year-old daughter.
Yes.
Well, that's great. So how are you using the training as a recovery coach to impact your world?
Well, I've set some inspiring goals and I've achieved most of them.
Yes, yes.
So that feels really good.
Yep.
Also, meeting Maria was very good. She's helped me a few times.
Which is me, by the way.
And also just building my self-esteem.
Yeah. Yeah. So how are you, what is it different about you as a recovery coach? Because you're using your own personal experience, isn't it?
Yes, I am.
To really impact people, because there's a lot of people out there that do, psychiatry, psychology, counseling model, which is great, but they need not have the experience. But as a recovery coach, we actually use our own experience to be able to help those that want to get out of the situations that we found ourselves in the past, isn't it? So you've got quite a lot of experiences that are quite, I guess, traumatic. So is it okay if we talked about that today? Because you're healing quite a bit now, so you're able to talk about your experiences a little bit better.
Yes.
So tell me about some of the things that you've seen in your personal life that probably are not very nice things for people to experience.
Well, I left home when I was 14.
Right.
Started on marijuana. It was a cool thing to do. Then got involved with my pimp. He got me onto heroin.
Right.
Before I knew it, I was hooked and went from stripping to prostitution, as I couldn't afford it on stripping.
Yes, yes. So it's just an escalation or de-escalation of one bad thing after the other.
Yes.
And it's all perpetrated by drug use. But also what that is also stemming from some childhood thing that happened.
Yes, I was abused as a child. We didn't find out till I was a lot older.
Right. But you always felt that there was something
something missing.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So you grew up and got into the wrong crowd and did all these things. I mean, there's so many stories that we can talk about, and maybe we'll devote another interview to all the different stories that you have, and we can talk about that in more detail. But I guess I wanted to ask for another story that's more inspiring, that shows how generous you are, because you did tell me a couple of stories of things that you did for kids specifically.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
While I was working and using drugs and doing my own thing, I used to try and grab the kids before other people did.
Right.
So they wouldn't go towards the drugs or the prostitution. So I used to put them in my hotel room and
Save a
feed
couple?
them, and saved a couple. Didn't save all of them,
But that's enough. A
but
couple is
saved a couple. So
that's really important. Now, I know that you've grew up in a foster home, and there's a couple of other experiences like cutting, which is self-harm is a big issue right now. But we'll talk about that in another interview.
Yes.
I think that's more specific to that. But really, what I wanted to get through to the readers today is how you can really totally transform your life in 7 months. Now, you've given me, I'm coaching you so you know about the feedback that I've heard about how the workers have said that they've seen such a transformation in your life. So tell me about that.
well, I used to have about 8 workers.
Wow.
When I moved into my place, because I was at Stillwaters, which is a domestic violence shelter
Yep.
for women and children, or just women.
Yes.
And I moved into my own place. I had about 8 workers, and now I've gone down to about 2.
Perfect.
And I've also stopped my antidepressants.
Wow.
I've been off them for 3 weeks.
Yes, yes. And you're doing the very hard task now of quitting smoking, isn't it?
Yes, I'm still smoking, but I'm getting closer.
Sure. And one little steps, I mean, for such massive things that pimps, gangsters, $2,000 day habit, prostitution, to now stabilizing. So really, I can't put far enough that there are so many benefits to recovery. You know this. What are the 3 main benefits in your life specifically, and how has learning to become a coach helped you now?
Well, I haven't lost my daughter, so that brought a lot of confidence.
Yes.
We've got a really good relationship.
And this is your 7-year-old daughter?
No, this is Misha.
Oh, this is Misha, yes.
Yeah,
So
my 1-year-old.
Sure.
Then I've got a 7-year-old. I'm working towards getting her back, and also just having the stability of being able to go home, knowing I've got food in the fridge, a bed to sleep in.
That's right.
No police, carting me away and saying, okay, you're going to jail, or
Right. That's really, no, that's massive. So I guess the last message I wanted to ask from you is, what would you like to tell the people that think that's it, that they're not going to amount to anything? Their self-esteem are so low, and they think they're so far gone into the drugs and into the bad behavior that no one's going to save them. What would you like to really impress upon them?
Well, I can say to them, please don't give up. I had a $2,000 a day habit, was in prostitution, did horrible things for my drugs, but look at me now. So if I can do it, anyone can do it.
Fantastic. Thank you. Look at that beautiful smile on Vanessa's face. And this is what we do here at Coaching with Substance. We've won an award for Best Not-for-Profit in 2014, and we do turn people's lives around. So please join us again for another interview with one of either our recovery coaches or anyone that we'd like to invite to the show, so that we can show you how it is that we help people. Welcome to the